Good morning, BASIS students. Well, right now you're probably sitting at home enjoying your wonderful boss camp. I am Mrs. Cloney. Chances are I'm going to be your art teacher this year. So, Cloney. Think claw, knee. Claw, knee. All right, so I teach art to almost all the fifth graders. I also teach photography and 3D art. So today, we're going to pretend like you are coming to my art class. And what are we going to do today? Well, first things first, you all come in and I'm going to say, get out your CJs. And in your CJ, I'm going to say, make sure you bring a pencil because this week we're going to be working with pencil and shading. So I'm not going to be using anything fancy. Just a normal pencil, something that you'll most likely have at home as well, and just plain printer paper, okay? Easy supplies, because chances are this first week we're going to be at home, and it could be we're going to be at home maybe even a little longer. So I'm going to try to find art supplies that you have at home. So today we are going to work on shading and using a pencil. So CJs, you are writing in them, bring a pencil to art class, okay? Especially in this time and age, we're gonna not wanna share supplies. I do have things you can use if you are coming to class and you happen to forget a pencil. So pencil today. There'll be other art supplies I will require you to have, and we'll go over that later. But today, we are gonna move on over to here. Oh, and let's look. So right now I'm not in the school art room, obviously, I'm home. So here are some of my things that you're gonna see in the art room. One, a pink flamingo. Why, Miss Cloney, do you have a pink flamingo? Because we sometimes dance to it. And it goes a little like... We'll play that at the end of class, okay? So we are gonna see how to use a pencil. But Miss Cloney, we already know how to use a pencil. I know, this is what everyone says. But you're gonna use a standard pencil. Now, we're gonna go over the fact that some of you might get some fancy drawing equipment. But for right now, we're just gonna talk about plain, simple pencil. Not a mechanical pencil though. You'll notice this has an eraser, has lead, but it's not one of those mechanical kinds. Why, Miss Cloney, are you not using a mechanical pencil? Well, they're good for some things, but they are not good for what we're gonna do. Notice this tip, okay? Ooh, this tip gets really long. It lets you do shading. It lets you do a whole lot of things that a mechanical pencil won't let you do. All right, so now I'm gonna flip my phone around and we're gonna see how to use this wonderful pencil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is a mechanical pencil. Here is your standard pencil. One is gonna let you do some shading that the other one won't. So I always like the standard pencil. I've done a dark circle. Nothing exciting about that. Doesn't look like an apple, right? But if I kind of do another one, and maybe this time it's just all light. This is range from light to dark. I'm trying to start to show some value. So now this apple is all kind of medium tone. Looks a little bit more like an apple, but we're still not there yet. So that was just kind of medium toned. And now I'm gonna do one where I combine the light and the dark. So I wanna have some areas that are darker than others. And I'm gonna shade it like I'm kind of going around. I want some dark, but look at this, I'm starting to go lighter. How am I getting this lighter? I'm just not pressing as hard. Look here, I'm doing small circular motions. Maybe this other side, I'm gonna make a little darker also. Now, how do you decide what side's gonna be dark and what's going to be light? You need to think of a light source. So if I had a real apple in front of me and he's getting lit up, let's see, I might have my light coming from this direction. So in that case, this side's going to be darker. The bottom part's going to be kind of dark as well. Get a little stem in there. Looking a little bit more like a pumpkin, but that's okay. That's the fun thing with art. If you don't like what you're doing once, change it as you go along. Look at that. I just made a pumpkin. I'm going to put a little bit of ground on him. But you can see how this pencil is letting me do some different styles of shading. Now let's try this with a mechanical pencil and see what happens. One, mechanical pencils break really easy. If you've ever been going along trying to draw and they break, that happens. Now I can get a little bit tighter depending. See, I'm doing that all dark, very tight. And it just kind of is another dark little apple. But what happens if I want to put some shading in there? Let's see. Let's try this with this pencil. You can kind of do it. The difference is it just takes a little longer. It's not that one pencil is better than the other for basic pencils. Lots of times I'll like doing these little, especially when you're doing small. The small mechanical pencils can be really good. All right, I'm going to leave an area for a little bit of highlight. So you see there, I've left some light. This is my light source. This is going to get darker. I'm going to build up the value. I'll make this side a little bit darker. See how it's taking me a little bit longer to do with a mechanical pencil. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It's just going to take me a little longer. Now all of a sudden I have a little bit of a light source. I'm going to put my stem in. Maybe put some background apple, make that a little darker through here. All right, so we're seeing how we're building up and we have a little apple. Now, it took some time. Shading, okay, if I've got this pencil, look how fast I can shade an area. Holding the pencil on the side works for large areas. Now to try to do that with the mechanical pencil, a lot harder to get it really even. You see how the lines are in this shading? Generally with shading, we want this smoother section. This, just a little rougher and just takes a little longer. So, is one better than the other? Not so much. I do like these more just because you can go a little faster. And you don't really need to have, let me turn the camera around here. Whoa, hope you all didn't get dizzy. So, quick lesson on the difference between mechanical pencil and your regular pencil. Now, this is the kind of pencil that normally is like yellow, have in class, have in school. The advantages comes with an eraser. When you need more pencil lead, all you gotta do is sharpen it. Can't tell you how many times when you're in class and you're like, Ms. Kalani, do you have any lead? I don't keep lead, okay? So if you like mechanical pencils, you just have to keep up with the fact that they take a little longer to use and they're not easily refillable. You can't just sharpen them. All right, so back to uses. So you see your standard pencil. When we start talking about different art supplies, we're going to start talking about different ways to use these pencils and different things you can do. So your homework dun, 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 is going to be practicing using your pencil. Okay, so we're going to switch back again. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what we have here is an example of a little apple that I drew. So I used a combination of the mechanical pencil and the regular pencil. So we have here, this is your light source, okay? This is your light source. Your light comes in this way. We have your apple sitting on a table. We've got a cute little apple, maybe some leaves, a little stem, and a background. So let me show you how we do this. Now I'm just drawing a simple little apple shape. I'm gonna do one right, we'll do it run right down here. So we are going to make almost a circle. I have a squished kind of apple shape and put a little stem right there. It doesn't really matter the shape of your apple. You do not need to trace a circle. We are not looking for perfection. I'm going to add like it's sitting on a little bit of a table so it doesn't look like it's floating in space. We don't want any floating apples. All right, so I can use either mechanical or a standard pencil. Now, the standard pencil, I want to start off going nice and slow. Notice I'm doing like a circular motion. I'm just putting a light shade down for now. I'm going to worry about getting darker later. I want to build up my value. So I'm going around and I'm going to make this again my light source. My light's going to be coming in from this way. We'll say this is a big old light, not a sun. You don't want any corner suns. All right. So that means this side is going to be a lot lighter than the side over here. Okay, just a little bit of value. Now, what does value mean? It's the range from light to dark. So we want to have a nice little apple that goes from light to dark. So I'm going to work on this side, kind of bringing it around. If you can see, I'm doing a light circular motion. See how tiny I'm going? Circular motion. We're going to be starting off using pencils quite a bit because I want you to know how to use your pencil and how to do the shading. Now, I have not been pressing hard. It's just very light, building up the tones. Some things to notice. You notice how you can see the line here where I've drawn the apple. You can see it on this side. To get rid of it on this side, I'm going to create a cast shadow. Whenever something is in light, it's going to cast a shadow onto the surface that it is sitting on. Just like when you're outside and the sun is shining, you can see your shadow. The sun is your light source. Your body is blocking it, and it creates a cast shadow. All right, so now I'm going to make the shadow really dark because the apple is blocking the light. So getting right up under there, getting rid of all those little details, just creating a half. I want to make it a little bit of a round, kind of a shadow. The darker part will be right up under the apple. Now, I'm going to switch to the mechanical pencil just so I can see how I like it. Now, I've got this little bit of a table down here. I want the table to have a little bit of value too. So I'm just going to kind of run in a little bit of tone, just a little bit, just kind of putting in a little bit. Now, many of you will have the desire to smudge this out, okay? That is taking your finger and doing this, thinking that creates shadows and shading. It doesn't. It just creates a mess on your finger. So I want you to stop putting your hands on your drawing. Yes, you can blend, but I do not want you using your fingers. So right now, I want you to practice on just using your pencil. Small circular motions. Okay, I can even make this shadow a little round since your apple is a little round. Make it look a little more natural. Okay, now I want this side of my apple to get darker, so I'm still working on it. I still want this part darker than the other side, creating a gradual change in my value, just ever so slightly. Okay, notice this side is a lot lighter, but what I don't like is that I see this line where I've drawn the apple. So instead of turning my hand for this, I'm going to turn my paper because I want to get right up behind here and I want to make the background darker. I want to make that line disappear that I drew that apple with. So I'm going to want just this part of the wall to be a little darker. It won't be affected by the light source so much because it is on a different level than the apple. It's behind the apple. So then as I come around and I want to create the background over here, I want it to be lighter than the apple and lighter than the table. Notice we've got 1, 2, 3 different values going on here. Just in this little section here. Super dark, medium, and then a little lighter. And then all of that, let me turn my paper back around, starts to give us a 3D apple. Now for tight little areas, I do like the mechanical pencil. If I'm drawing big, I want the bigger, easy pencil. But for this, I'm going to come in. Look how I'm just spending even more time on this apple. Not rushing it. Along the bottom, we're going to put some more shading because he's round. We want to give that feel that he's a round apple. Okay, so we're just adding value, adding shading, just still building up this tone. Maybe right back here, make it right a little bit darker again. So again, it's like the opposite. Dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. A lot of opposites happening. I'm going to put a little leaf in here. All right. Starting to look kind of cute. Maybe get inside of this little apple a little darker here. Make that little well where the stem comes out a little darker. Still building up. And there we have it. Now, if I was to blend with my finger, I got all sorts of oils in my skin and a mess. And all that's going to do is just make this look messy. So I'll show you with these 2 apples. So if I come into this one that I'd already done and blended it, see what happens? I lose my value. So you want to try to not do that so much. Yes, you can come back in with a pencil eraser and kind of fix it. But notice how that doesn't look as good as leaving the area white. Okay? So you can always erase and start over. Come back in. Erasers are our friends. But you see, it just never quite looks as good. So my recommendation, do not rub with your fingers. Okay? Just a different look. So if I was going to do that rubbing, I did it everywhere. This is what usually people end up doing. They rub everything. Oh, yes, I must rub. But everything just loses the value. You lose your highlights. Okay? So this is what you want. All right? Don't rub with your fingers. Try a variety of different pencils and see what you can create. All right. I love you guys. I haven't even met you yet, and I love you. But that is our lesson for today. All right, I've had a wonderful time showing you the uses and the differences between a mechanical pencil and a regular pencil. Stay tuned for more videos from Mrs. Cloney, and I hope I get to see you guys in person real soon because I love teaching art and I love you guys. All right, bye. Almost forgot. The pink flamingo. This is how I like to close out my classes. Are we ready? Are you ready? All right. Hey, Macarena.